So I got a question from a new parent earlier in the week about 529 accounts and sort of what I thought about them and if I would go after them and use those I guess there's a couple of things. First and foremost, the more I look at this, the more again I see that the system is sort of set against us and it's really trying to really make us sheep and sort of just go down a path and not complain and all of those things. So You know, I think there's absolutely a better way than 529 accounts. The more you look at it, we'll sort of go through it here in these slides. I do think it's fair to say I didn't always believe this. We had a 529 account and used that for our daughter. Um, but I have come to see that that was certainly not the best option, and we certainly should have done something different. So thought I would just put it out there. Not a big fan of the 529 account just because I think there is a better way. And frankly, it's a way that you're in control. So let me go through it here. So just quickly review what a 529 account is, how it works. Um, we'll talk about again the system, the financial system, the big banks. They're clearly working against us, is my belief. Um, I'm going to suggest what might be a better way, and then talk about what might be some options after 15 years. So a 529 account, in case you don't know, it is a tax. It takes after-tax contributions. It's what they call tax deferred, meaning that you can add after-tax dollars, and then any gains on that are done tax-free if it's used for expenses for college, universities, education, things of that nature. The maximum contribution is 14K a year, 28K if you're married. So right off the bat, you sort of have a max contribution, which again I think is not always a great option. Again, as I said, it's a tax advantage account where again any growth can be used and taken out free of federal taxes if it's a qualified education expense. It does say up to 75K per beneficiary in 1 year. So if they're going to a really expensive school, looks like they're only able to take out 75K a year, or again 150K if you are a married couple. It is obviously managed by a professional fund manager. So I think that's interesting, a professional fund manager. So again, it's not in our control, it's not active, it's completely passive, and maybe you have a couple of choices up front, but after that it's left to someone else to run, which I'm not a big fan of. I think it's becoming painfully clear that the system we are all part of is not working for us individually. They're basically trying to guide all of us in one direction and take just a little bit out of each and all of our pockets, which gives them the power to do things and get those big bonuses and things like that. I think it's sort of they want us to be robots or sheep that we just keep working and shoveling pieces of cash, whether it's $14,000 or $4,000 or whatever it is. When they get lots of us to do this, it becomes big piles of cash and they play with the float and make the returns, but don't really take any of the risks, which I think is kind of funny. Again, we're asked to have blind faith in this professional fund manager. Trust it will all work out in the end. Again, they're selling this idea of do a little bit all the time, and sometime in the future things will be better. I think that's I guess I would say it's certainly an outcome, but it's certainly not the only outcome. I think the people above, the people in power, whatever you want to call it, have figured out that if they give us a big goal, right, whether it's be a millionaire or pay for your child's education or whatever, and then they just ask us to give them a little bit every paycheck, that we won't even notice, and more importantly to them, we won't complain, we won't demand our money, we won't ask for anything. We just trust them. We trust those really smart people to do the right thing, and I think that's foolish. The more I look into this, and again, I just ended with, "Come on, man, there has to be a better way." I just thought that was funny. So what could be a better way? What if you bought one rental property before your child was 3? And I picked 3 because I built this around the 15-year mortgage. I built this around the fact that most people go to college when they're 18. So 15 plus 3 is 18. That's how I got here, right? If your child's over 3, this still absolutely applies to you. But in my example, you've bought a property before your child turns 3. Let's just again be really conservative. Let's say you've bought a rental property and you've put 50% down, right? You want this to be very conservative. You don't want to think about it. You want the cash flow to be what it is. And then you just don't want to think about it. You want to put it on autopilot. Frankly, a 529 account is on autopilot. You don't think about that. So let's put more down and just be okay with that. Again, I've already said this was built on a model where you went out and got a 15-year mortgage. So again, in theory, by the 18th birthday, the house is paid off. More importantly, what you should notice is that the tenant or tenants, you probably had some turns in 15 years, have paid off the other half of the building, right? Not only have you gotten some cash flow every month, or at least most months, the tenant paid for half the building, right? You did put 50% down day one, but you did nothing else the rest of the 15 years, and the tenant paid off the other half, which is kind of cool. The other things that are likely possible is the property is going to go up in value. Let's just say it doubles in 15 years. Inflation's real, so rent's going to go up. And obviously, as you pay off the building, cash flow is going to increase. So all good things. Now I thought we'd sort of look at your options. Right now, your child's 18. What can you do? So again, 18, the property's owned free and clear. You can think about what can you do? One thing you could do is you could go out and get a loan on the property. You're not limited by some 14K or 75K or 150K or whatever it is, right? Go get a loan for, again, 50% of the building. Which, oh, by the way, a loan on a rental property is a tax-free event. The proceeds from a loan are not taxed. So it's not like you're taking a distribution or cashing a 401K or something like that. A loan is a tax-free event. It's debt, and debt is not taxed. And then, of course, your tenant pays for that loan, right? So you're going to essentially have the tenant pay for not only the other half of the building, but you're also going to have the tenant pay for your child's education. You could, of course, sell that property, right? It's owned free and clear, or just sell it, get a big lump of cash. I don't think that's a great option in my opinion, but it's certainly an outcome that you could so choose. The other one you could do is you could ask your kids to go out and get a loan, right? Go get a student loan, and then do something that says, hey, if they graduate, you could again do the above steps and pay off the loan, right? If they sort of use that as the carrot and stick, right? If they don't graduate, then they got to pay the loan, but if they do graduate, they pay. Or what you could do is you can get real creative and say, hey, this building is cash flowing now and you graduated. So what you'll do is you'll take, a portion of what now is free and clear and decent cash flow and pay their student loan debt or pay half of it or whatever you want to do. The fact is now you have an asset that's owned free and clear, cash flowing. You're taking something you planted 15 years ago and you have lots of options. So again, lots of options, lots of things you could do. Ultimately, you're in control, you're active, you're not relying on anybody else. And the other thing is this is not limited. Let's say you have a kid that graduated at 18 and they want to start a business. And more importantly, you believe in the business. They have a great idea. They're doing big things. If you're doing a 529 account, sorry, doesn't qualify. But if you want to go give them seed capital, take 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, right? When you own a rental property and you sort of eyeballed it for your child, you can use that however you see fit or don't see fit, right? So it doesn't have all the downside and restrictions that a 529 account has. So again, hopefully what you saw here is I hopefully have laid out a plan that, at least a way some of you could think about instead of doing a 529 plan, how you can have more control, how you can have more options, because it's really hard for any of us to think about 15, 18, 10, whatever it is, years into the future. So why would you want to restrict yourself? In a 529 account, there's lots of restrictions. Also, the 529 account relies on someone else, which I'm not very comfortable with anymore these days. So in the end, it's just another thing to think about. Please do me a favor, leave a comment below a question. Please subscribe to the channel. Also share this video with friends and family who have kids, or maybe just had a new kid or kids under 5 years old. Let them think about another way to potentially leverage capital and do good things for their children. Have a great day.